Hi, everybody. I'm Willem.
And I'm Tim.
And this is another episode of Hear Me Out Pitch. Well, howdy, Tim. How you doing today?
I'm pretty good.
You tired?
I am, yes.
Always.
Always. I'm an adult. Yes.
Okay.
I'm an adult. I'm always tired.
I'm an adult. Yes, you are an adult. Yes.
Yeah.
I hope you all felt the awkward stare we gave each other when we were like, am I an adult? I am an adult. I feel it when I wake up in the morning.
Not mentally.
I am very much physically an adult. It hurts in the morning. My Achilles tendons just hurt every day. Back hurts. It's like this scene in Vader Zim. My spine! But everybody, we hope that you are doing wonderful. It is the last day of July while we're recording this, and it's been smoky! Hooray for all the wildfires. Hooray! Just making the air awful here. Just fantastic.
Gotta love it when Oregon's on fire, taking California's thing and making it their own.
Whatever California can do, Oregon can do better. That's just what they've always said. Just how it is. California did what? We can do it. California did what? We can do it. But it's way more. It's so much prettier there, in my opinion. Well, Northern California is pretty much like Oregon. I'm more of a foresty, green, lots of rain type of guy. I love that kind of weather. And we get it here. We get almost everything here.
Thunderstorms.
Except beaches.
Thunderstorms. I mean, we've got the Great Salt Lake.
That is not a beach.
I'm
talking about real beaches. Talking about nice beaches.
That's fair.
Beaches that make you want to do something. Yes, I'm doing a pun and I don't care. I love play on words. Beaches. Such a fun thing to say. Random plug for everybody. If you have not ever seen Ted Lasso, go watch it. I got the Blu-ray of it because I love that show. And I pre-ordered it. It was just like when I got the Avatar The Last Airbender Blu-ray. I know this is very random, and I don't care because it made me laugh so hard. Because I thought to myself, I want to get Avatar The Last Airbender on Blu-ray. And I went online, and holy crap, it was going to be released like a couple of weeks, so I pre-ordered it. Guess what happened with Ted Lasso last week? Same dang thing. So, it's funny. Love it. Grade it. Everyone should watch it. It's just a feel-good show. You ever feel bad? You watch that show and make yourself some soup on accident. Makes you feel great. Why are you laughing, Tim?
Some context for that. I come over so I can record, and I walk in the door, and Willem's like, "You have soup."
Yep. I was me. I was the one that was sad and made soup and watched Ted Lasso. Great show. I'm not like sad. I'm just like, I'm just sad because it's just a Wednesday. And it's not Friday. Also, Deadpool Wolverine. Fantastic. I hope everyone who's seen it, I hope you were as happy as I was. Is it perfect? No. Is it funny? Yes. I think the replay value is amazing. And it's definitely one that you would be proud to own. In my opinion. So, hopefully there's a PG-13 version out there soon, so all y'all people who don't like R-rated movies can enjoy it, because it was funny. But that means they really have to tone down a lot of the jokes. Anyway, Tim said, hey, because I had to cancel on Tim due to watching the movie, and he said, well, you're in charge of coming up with something, and I said, oh no. And he said, you got this. And I said, oh no. And I came up with something an hour ago.
Oh no.
Oh no. And, well, I think all I'm going to do is I'm going to read to you guys what I typed up, because I'm a typer. I'm not a writer. Horrible handwriting, as we've seen in my notes. And so I just want to read this with you guys. And then me and Tim are just going to talk and see what comes from it. Because I guess told Tim, if me and him can come up with a story from a sentence, then I'm sure if I give a decent little summary of what I want, then I'm sure we can come up with something. So are you ready, Tim?
I think so.
Oh, okay, I'm nervous. I've never really done this before, so here we go. Experiment. If this is a short episode, don't blame me. And this is all I got so far. The first beings made on this planet were the insects, and spiders reigned supreme. It was a simple world. And then that's kind of what I had. I kind of went back up and jumped at from the end, but then this is kind of where I really was going to go with this. I want a character and a story of will. I want this feeling of fighting and constantly struggling. This character needs to have the will to continue, though they are struggling and everything in their body and even parts of their soul are telling them to give up and stop. I imagine that this character has some form of disease or curse. This curse is dormant when they are awake, but it grips them while they sleep. Naps, exhaustion, even losing focus will cause this curse to activate. What is scaring our lead character the most is that they are feeling more and more comfortable with it. They love it, and slowly a second voice will be shared with the audience and will begin to gain speed in corrupting this hero. I want the audience to have the feeling of dread and helplessness near the end and the fear that sleep will take them. I want this curse to be something that has infected others in this character's family, home, or race. This is something that terrorizes the people, and they will slowly turn into web-like creatures with this curse protruding from their mouths and making a sort of mask around their heads. I imagine a woman with beautiful-looking hair, almost platinum blonde, but in reality it is webs, to be the one to form this curse. She is the queen of the curse and from a distant land. Her mouth can unhinge and transform into a mouth of a spider, and she can make herself have 2 extra arms. I want her goal to cover the world in dream webs. Mankind is meant to be dormant in her eyes, and sleep will help her make the perfect reality for them. No mistakes, no bad choices. She will make the world perfect and quiet.
When you were describing her, the only image that came through my head was the one spider chick in that one episode of Gravity Falls.
Oh,
That ties up at Grunkle Stan.
I have totally spaced on it. Random thing about Gravity Falls. Are they coming out with the 3rd season? There's just been this weird news.
I don't know.
Anyway, so what did you... I don't know. That's kind of what I'm imagining.
What kind of world do you want this to be set in? What kind of people do you want the main characters to be? Do you want them to be human? Do you want to be them spiders? Do you want them to be monkeys? Do you want them to be
I imagine
snakes?
spiders.
Okay.
I originally was going to say, just in the beginning there was insects, and I was thinking maybe this woman evolved from a spider, or she was either she's a fallen being. I'm thinking of a Shelob type character, almost.
Okay.
And she just enjoyed the world. When she came down, the world was just insects, and she was happy, and it was quiet, and she slowly was turning into a spider, but she was this beautiful image, and then the other gods or creation or evolution, however you want to see it, came in and disrupted it. And here's a scene that I've been wanting to put in a movie or show or story, whatever. But the idea is that I want either this happens to our main character or it happens to someone else, because I said how the curse protrudes. I imagine that they curl over, almost vomiting, and it just crawls at webs, crawl out, and it's almost like a web will cover their face into this skull. Imagine Ghost Rider, for all you out there. It looks like a skull covered in webs, but it's billowing and forming hair behind them. If you guys can imagine, I think of the nastiest mummy skull you can think of, and it's just covering them with hair. So they're still alive underneath, but this mask just looks like a skull covered with webbing. Just thick, awful webbing. The rest of their body looks fine. So again, this could just be our main character, and this is what he's turned into, the web rider, you could say. The web rider. And or she, I don't know. This is just kind of what I've been thinking. I told Tim briefly, and I know we had the conversation of Tim's episode last week. We'd love you all to listen to it. Loved Dreamweaver. But this is one I had. Has anyone ever tried to wake up from a nap and it feels like you're stuck? you feel paralyzed, or you're just kind of in this weird place where you can't move.
It's called sleep paralysis.
Yes.
And a lot of the times your brain will play tricks on you, and you'll see demons.
I don't usually see anything.
You'll see things.
I usually get stuck and I think that I'm awake and then I freeze all of a sudden. That's what freaks me out. So that's what I'm imagining, is that feeling of when you're trying to wake up from your sleep paralysis. Is that's what this curse feels like to our main character. It just feels like he is getting encompassed, he's getting grabbed, and he doesn't know, or she. I'm just going to say he, because that just is probably what I'm going to say no matter what. Because I'm a dude, and I usually just go with he's first. He. Just call me Michael Jackson, because he. That's so stupid. What are your pronouns? He. Stupid joke. So I think what I want help with, Tim, is what... Oh no, I don't really have I have a villain, kind of. I have somewhat of idea. I imagine it's either fantasy or modern day, because it's so loud in this weird fantasy modern world. Could be a hybrid of the both. I don't really care.
I mean, if we're humanizing spiders, which I know my dad will love, he hates spiders. So, but if we're humanizing these spiders, I think modern day could be kind of fun, and then our main character could have just like this super boring desk job.
Okay.
Super boring desk job. Maybe they've evolved in a way to, I don't know, because I'm imagining almost like B-movie almost.
B-movie?
And not the stupidity of what that movie really is, but the kind of humanization of the bugs. Same with like A Bug's Life, where they've got a whole civilization, they've got somewhat realistic jobs, they've got, like the social hierarchy. Sometimes they wear clothes, sometimes they don't.
I will say
it's like real life.
I will say I do want more humanish. Either like they full on look human, but there's like some aspects of insects in them still. Like there's maybe the different. I was thinking either they evolved from insects and they have little attributes. Like the lowest of the people are ants, and they're kind of smaller people, and there are just so many of them, but they're just the shorter kind. And then you have the beautiful bee people. You have people like praying mantises, and then you have
praying mantises should be the monks.
Oh. That would be cool. But I just imagine they still look human. They just are more slender. They have like kind of that... I would imagine each race is designed... Like imagine just this beautiful long face, angular, and like flowing robes instead of the little thingies that mantises have. Even mantis has those thingies. Thank you for the Kung Fu Panda reference. But you see what I'm saying? Like everyone is bulky, but the people who they don't talk about are the people that never came to be. Spiders. I feel like spiders would be the ones that don't exist, or they hide, they never evolved. I don't know. Or it's just humans. And then this god, this creature, this thing just hates the noise and wants it all quiet. And we could like have a flashback of her as a little tiny spider, and it shows like a fly in her web, like making all that racket and noise, and you can see it like bugging her, almost bugging her. Almost like a spider sense. It's just kind of like that kind of
Peter
design.
Tingle.
Yeah, Peter Tingle. That like flashing, like loud symbols. To her, noise is just loud, and she hates it.
Yeah. My sister has something like that where she just gets sensory overload. Mm-hmm. Over the last several years, she's gotten a lot better at being able to control it. And I don't think it's bugging her as much, but there was a time when really loud noises really got to her. And I know when I worked at that rehab center, there were a few clients that I had that had that. One of them was quote-unquote autistic. Her doctor hadn't confirmed anything, but was like, we're pretty sure without testing that she's autistic, just a little bit. And all of us were like, well, we need a diagnosis, blah, blah, blah. Anyway. She had something like that, and so she wore headphones all the time, 24/7, because she could still hear the way that you and I hear. She could hear that same clarity if she was wearing the headphones. Otherwise, it was just too much sensory overload. So maybe our spider could have that.
And I do want it to make it like, and now I'm sitting here, I don't want to like see her before. I don't want to see her in the form of like a woman with headphones. That would be cute, but I just imagine her, I don't know what caused her to come out. I don't know what caused her to finally emerge in this world, or if she's just trying to cause this plague.
Maybe the world started pushing into her.
Maybe she was hiding herself like what Aragorn and Aragog and Shelob would probably do. I think spiders, if I saw a giant tarantula walk into my room, even a regular sized tarantula just walked into here, I would probably freak out. Wouldn't scream, but I'd be like,
I would be confused where it came from.
Yeah, I'd probably freak out and like, ooh, okay. Would I try to pick it up? No. Would I try to pick it up with anything else? No, I'm staying away from it. Maybe I'll try to like put a trash can up and then quickly like, lift it up so that it's underneath, and then I'd put it out in the hall and say, good luck everybody else. Like, okay.
See, I would just pick it up and try to find where it came from.
Really? You can just pick up a spider like that? Ooh, even thinking
about it. It's something that my family, my dad especially, hates me for. He doesn't hate me. He hates the fact that I pick up spiders.
What about Australian spiders, the big, scary ones? Is that pushing it?
That's pushing it.
Okay, but a tarantula?
See, I'm not afraid of spiders. I am cautious because I would rather not get bit by
something,
a hobo spider, and have my arm start to blister, or
worse,
or get bit by a brown recluse and have
the decay.
My skin start to decay. So I'm cautious, but like the common house spider, the garden spider. Whatever.
I love jumping spiders.
I
pick those ones up. Those are fine.
Crab spiders.
Yep.
Crab spiders are my favorites.
Nope.
The ones that crawl sideways. Love them. They're awesome.
Nope.
I'd play in the backyard and I would go looking for them. And there were a few times that I got in trouble because I brought a black widow into the house without knowing it was a black widow, and then I'd get in trouble. And
all right, well, maybe to be lame, I'm going to call him Riley, and not because of Inside Out, but because I'm going to base him off my favorite Spider-Man character, Ben Reilly. And no, he's not going to have spider-like powers. He's not going to be Spider-Man. I was not intending for this to be Spider-Man. But while I was talking about this weaving, I just imagined a woman with this flowing, beautiful hair, but it ended up being webs. It's the first thing I thought of. Almost like Coraline's other mother, but with white hair, longer, and more friendly, if that can be said.
Like a false friendly.
Yes. I imagine she just wants to be quiet. She just wants the world to be quiet. She came, and this world was chaotic and loud, and she wanted to make it quiet. But maybe Riley's family is what put her in her place, put her in this deep sleep, funny enough.
It could be that, her grandfather or something owned a construction company,
mm-hmm.
and that construction company pushed her out of her home. So she put a curse on that family.
Oh. Okay. I can see that Riley's family, long time ago, he doesn't even know about this. No one knows about this. Maybe
not even like a construction type of thing. Maybe they were settling in this area, and maybe his ancestors were just extra loud and drove her away.
Oh, I was thinking they put her to sleep. And that's why now that she wants to...
with a sleep stick?
Yeah. They did something to her to make her just sleep. Whether it was from intervention, Or I don't know, because again, I don't know if this is like a fallen angel. I don't know if this is a fallen being. I don't know if this is just a spider that just got bigger and bigger. So how would they put her to sleep? And don't say sleep stick. A giant sleep stick. Was it a spell? Was it a curse?
Do we want magic in this world?
I mean, if we're having a curse that's making them come up and it's making them into web writers, then yes.
And then it could be a spell. Could be some magic.
So what would be the opposite? If you have a spider as quiet and dark, what would be the opposite of a spider? That's what the question I wanted to ask you. Why are you laughing? I'm scared.
The only thing I get... You said opposite of a spider, and I'm imagining a fly, but with Homer Simpson's face. I don't know why it's Homer Simpson's face, but it is.
I need to show you something after, but yeah, that's funny. So I want the idea that dark and quiet, because spiders are pretty... They activate by sound. They're webbing.
Silent hunters.
They're silent hunters. Their webs will catch things, and when the thing is making a fuss and being chaotic, they will go and make it quiet and wrap it in a web. And I just want her to have that goal. Maybe she was getting close to this, and there was this curse from a long time ago, and it was dormant, and his ancestors are the ones that stopped it. But I want to know, like, if she is a god of quiet and control and peace, what would be... And it's ironic because peace and quiet versus chaotic and loud, but yet chaotic and loud is the good guy. Because peace and quiet, too much of that will just be no choice, no nothing. Like, she's going to make it that everyone will just be sleeping and they get to dream, and it'll just be the perfect little dreamland. And I just don't know what would be the opposite. Should we just say mosquito? We are the mosquito clan. We're going to suck your blood. Tasty. You're going to get malaria now.
The mosquito clan, and it could be, maybe not suck their blood, but it could be like they almost steal energy from creatures.
Maybe.
Like a siphon kind of effect.
Or maybe that's just a dumb idea about it being opposite. I just wanted to think about what if a god came down and wanted peace and quiet, and there was another god that wanted freedom and chaos, what would it represent? Is there an animal that would totally just be the opposite of a spider? Not male, but mammal or bird or anything.
Maybe her mate at one point was Riley's ancestor.
Are you thinking pull a Maleficent?
Ish, but not. I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Maybe they, he was her mate, and then he ran because he knew what was coming.
I don't imagine that she's like a...
Maybe he was afraid that it could happen, and so he ran, and so she cursed him because he ran and left her alone. The only noise that she cared about came from his mouth.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Maybe he used to sing.
Okay, exactly.
Maybe he used to sing.
Okay.
And after he left, maybe that's why she hates noise, because it's not his singing.
This deity, this fallen creature, had a partner, a god, another fellow god, and he was a singer as well. That was something he was known for. But he's chaotic, he's loud, he sings. He is the... I can't remember the two names. Orpheus. He's the Orpheus to her... Oh, I forgot the woman that gets trapped in hell. Sort of thing. He's like Orpheus. Oh, okay. Okay. I imagine this scene now. In the beginning. Just big spider. I don't know if this could be in the beginning or this could be a backstory later on. But I imagine she feels a twing. Like a little... We see her web react to something, get caught in it, and it's a scared man. And you can totally call it, this is like Donkey with the Dragon, but she's going to eat him, and he's like, and just does something to, or maybe she heard something. Would you rather that she sneaks up on him in spider form? I'm thinking either she sneaks up on him, maybe he trips on a cord and he gets through it. Just trips on it, and he's going, and this is way back in the day. Maybe he's a noble knight. I don't know. I like a knight. Imagine and not even a knight, he could be a squire. He was a nobody. And he trips, and he's just going, he's like singing a song about fetching his master's tools. And when she follows him down, he's just singing the song as he's either taking a bath or he's doing something. Maybe he's petting the horse, and the horse like it's freaking out, and she transforms into a beautiful woman. She transforms into that woman that I told you guys about. And how would he betray her? He just sees her true form and freaks out, and they just hide her away. They get some Merlin character to just cast her away.
I kind of like the idea that
I just gave us a summary.
I don't really like the idea anymore.
What? What were you thinking?
The idea that maybe she was maybe she, obviously the love of music kind of thing, but then because of this, that, and the other, she hates music, maybe because her lover left, kind of like a Coco kind of situation. You know how in Coco, how Mama Imelda hates music, and her family hates music because Hector left.
I think that is cute.
So something like that could be kind of cool. But okay. Again, that I don't know.
That's too similar, maybe.
It does feel very, very similar.
Coco-ish. You know what would be cute though? I would like that she falls in love with music, because even though it's chaos, it was the perfect blend of. Because music is chaotic, but she found that it was soothing. I don't know too much about what your sister goes through, but does she enjoy music at all? Or is that too much for her?
I think she likes music. I think.
Tim doesn't talk to his sister ever.
I do. I just don't talk to her about music. I am one who doesn't listen to music very often.
Huh.
I listen to podcasts. That's what I listen to.
I, for one, I'm imagining that she is, I don't know, what should we call this character? We're not calling her Shelob, don't worry. Mistress Webb. Let's call her that.
Madam Webb.
Oh, dang it, never mind. So I'm thinking, we see her as this deity comes down as a spider. She wants peace. The world was made, and she wanted peace. And she found the most comforting creature that she saw was a spider, and she became one. Everything grew. Everything got bigger. She grew as well. But one thing and when humans came, she can even describe them as these nasty, horrible things. But then one thing that they did that she learned to love is music. And we could even see her walking around, this beautiful pale woman with the long, beautiful webbed hair, this platinum blonde hair, is just dancing with villagers. And you guys can plug in any sort of tribe you can think of. And I just imagine she's enjoying that with them, and she just learned to embrace music. She even learned to love humans for a time. But I don't know what would cause her to hate. Or maybe that's just going too far. I think that's too much. I don't want her to be too involved with humans. Maybe it was just one human, and he sang. He sang, and she turned into a human, and they fell in love. And when she... I don't know what would cause him to figure out what she was, or reveal it. I don't know what would make her want to go back to sleep, or how he would put her to sleep.
Maybe he sang her to sleep.
Oh.
Like a lullaby, and it was a spell that he cast.
I'm imagining this wizard cooks up a music box.
Ooh.
And it causes her to sleep. And... Ooh, and then could you imagine if like some archaeologists come down or something, like a construction crew come down, and they find the little box and it's just emitting this beautiful noise. And it's a song. And they're like, huh. Or they accidentally break it. Like some guy I imagine some guys like, they're like, what do we do with this thing? I don't know. And they like try to put it to be safe. And then while they take it away, it gets destroyed and she comes out. Ooh.
Oh. And then maybe because of that, maybe that's why they're cursed. Maybe he died and that music box is all that she had left of him.
Could be. Maybe she always thought he was singing to her. Like in her, and we could even show her just dreaming and like living with him, and he's always singing. And then when it shatters, and she realizes what they did, and she's just gonna turn that magic against him. She'll like pick up the box, and I imagine her fingers turn into that spidery. And like I imagine this construction crew is staring at this beautiful woman. And she's sitting there, comes out of this big cocoon, and she slowly just wraps her fingers around it and looks at them and just goes. And we see the webs kind of fly, like from her hair, they just fly. And I just imagine they just go into the construction crew's mouth. And we start getting that scene I told you guys about that I want. Just them curling over and turning into these, I'm just going to call them web riders.
The woven.
Oh! Yes! Yes, Tim. Gold star for you. I slapped it on his head. Now he has a red forehead. Ow. So how would she connect it to... So she's going to walk up to some cauldron and say, boil and trouble, the offspring of my lover, he will now be cursed. Like, what? Crap. So is that how if she starts to plague that way, how is our main character going to be affected by this? Is she going to sit there and hold the music box and then taint that, and it's going to go into him? I just want that to be the beginning, and then and I want the actor of the lover and Riley to be the same. He's just a direct descendant.
Okay.
Because when she sees him, it's going to make her even just more furious. Like, just the, ooh, you done did it. You done did it today. That sort of thing. So maybe she just uses the box. And again, I imagine she's a small deity. And she just squeezes it. And mouth unhinges. Eyes start forming. And turns into a giant spider. Screams, and then that's when Riley wakes up. And he just wakes up in his boring... You said boring desk job, huh? And that could be it. That could just be the beginning and the start of everything. It's just Riley wakes up and he's like, oh. I like the idea of him looking just like his
ancestor.
Thank you. But now, I want... It's a story of will. It's a story of constantly... Stop. I know. Yes, I know my name is Willem. I know, that's cheesy. It's a story about having the will to continue. And I want him to be the type of kid, and he could be around our age. He doesn't have that right now. And I did mention that I wanted to have a second voice, and I can't imagine if that is going to be her voice in his head or if it's going to be her voice. I think her voice might be a good idea.
Yeah, it could work.
But imagine this guy's a pretty defeated dude. He goes, he's just doing the regular Sisyphus routine. He's currently just rolling that boulder up, and he just
keeps losing the promotion to some upstart who somehow knows everything better than him.
Yep.
He's never had a girlfriend or anything.
He just wants to let that boulder crush him. Yeah.
He's living in his parents' basement because he can't afford to leave.
Oh, that could work. I imagine maybe he's eating with his parents and they could talk about like their grand heritage. And he's just like, I don't know what you're talking about. Riley Weaver. No, we won't do Weaver. But I will say thank you for...
His mom is Sigourney Weaver.
Yo. That was stupid. But I love it. And she's definitely going to have some alien cameo somehow. She'll say something like, get away from her, you... Get away from him, you...
I don't want you planting your eggs in his chest.
Ew. Yes. So, do we... Oh, well, that being the case, do we want her to be... Do we want to kind of flip it then, and then have her kind of find him, and be like the answer to all of his prayers, making his life better? Like, I Married an Axe Murderer type kind of thing, where... If you haven't seen that movie, y'all should see it. It's one of my favorite Mike Myers movies. Huh. Because imagine, like, this beautiful woman just walks up to him. Like, I just imagine now that he's just sitting, and she just sits down and looks at him. Hi, Riley. And he goes, whoa. Hold on a second. Maybe she's in his dreams. Oh, no. I don't know. Good, now I kind of like that she's just kind of... Maybe she's slowly becoming the second voice every time he falls asleep. This is a battle of wills. It's a battle of constantly struggling, even though everything in his body and parts of his soul want him to give up. And I want him to already feel like that. So how can we make this worse dream-wise? Oh my gosh, so maybe the dreams are just more hopeful. I don't know, no.
Maybe they're brighter.
They're brighter? Oh, no. Is this turning into a Coraline thing?
I mean, it kind of is.
Ah, crap. All right, episode's over. I'm done. Dang it. Not really. Okay, then maybe not with the other girlfriend idea. Don't worry, he's not going to get buttons sewn on. He's just going to be turned into a giant spider, and she's going to bite his head off.
Not giant, but not button eyes.
Not button eyes.
You'll have 8 eyes.
You'll have 8 eyes, and then I eat them. What? No. She's going to find him, and she's going to curse him. That's how it goes.
In the dream.
No, I want it to be like he thinks this is like the date of his life. He thinks it's just his lucky day. I just imagine we just follow him through a regular day, and he's sitting down, and we see like when he's sitting at a cafe, maybe with one of his coworkers, they're just like, "Come on, Riley, you got this. You'll get the promotion next time, or whatever." Or maybe he's gone through a breakup. Something just recently happened to Riley, and he's, Sisyphus is this close to just laying down and letting the boulder crush him. That's how close he is. Because giving up isn't letting the boulder go down. It's gonna go down no matter what we do. I think letting the boulder crush you and no longer existing, that's giving up. Because sometimes you're just going to slip and the boulder will fall. But I think letting it crush you is what... Sorry.
Losing isn't failure. Failure is giving up and not getting back up.
Yep. It's funny. I really wanted to get Sisyphus tattooed on my body. My father said, nope, too negative. So, you're welcome, Dad. So, but I imagine he's like in a cafe and we just see just heels. You know, we have to have the heels. The click, clack, click, clack. And we see the heels come up. Camera's following her point of view and she gets up and he just, you see him stare at the heels. Camera pans up and it is the most gorgeous woman he's ever seen with this platinum blonde hair. For anyone who's like, Willem, you are obsessed with platinum blonde hair. Yes. Love me some platinum blonde hair. Black Cat was one of my favorite characters growing up. And I imagine this woman just sits down and stares at him and goes, hi, Riley. And he just has a moment. Imagine they just have a great date. And halfway through the date, not even halfway, it'll like be ending on a great crescendo. We could like see a montage. I don't care. But I just imagine at one point, she goes, you look just like him. Do you know how much that hurts? And he goes, excuse me? Is this an ex of yours? Oh, it was an ex. And I just want the reveal to be there. And she just drives a nail into him. Just a fingernail. And just gets all barbed, full of barbs like a spider leg. And just goes in and goes, your great, great, great grandfather, however long, put me to sleep with his lovely voice. Oh, imagine he tries to do karaoke. They try to go to karaoke. She just says, let's go to karaoke. And he tries to sing and he can't. What if he's just crap at that too? Or maybe, oh, you know what he does? He flakes. He doesn't sing. No, and to be everyone going, oh, you're going to make him sing at the end for her? Yes, but not in the way you think. I'm thinking, here's what and I'm going to just say the ending now, because this is what these meetings are for. I imagine whenever they defeat her, she's dying, and he sings to her finally. Just sings that song. And that's how she'll die. Don't know how she'll die yet. Don't know how to kill her. But this is going to be fun. Okay, I'm starting to like this.
Good. Can you make me not tired?
No, but I can ask this question. What is a trope that you cannot stand in action movies like this? Of the hero falling for like it's a clumsy, clunky hero and a beautiful villainess. Mm-hmm. What is something you just can't stand?
That's usually the whole lame dude gets the girl kind of thing has always bugged me. Because he doesn't ever actually put in any work. He just somehow ends up with her, and that bothers me. If you got a lame hero, they're not gonna get the girl unless they have a history together already. Like you look at Hiccup in How to Train a Dragon, right? He knew who Astrid was. Astrid knew who he was. And no, it wasn't like a, they weren't friends by any means. She was the pretty blonde that everyone was in love with, and he was
Hiccup.
That's all he was. He was that. And yes, I just gestured to all of him.
All of that.
And then Hiccup showed Astrid what he'd been doing with Toothless, and she began to understand, and she supported him. They didn't fall in love at that point. They were friends. They finally went from, she doesn't like me because I'm lame, I have no shot with her because I'm lame, to I'm lame, but I'm also just me, and this is why I'm doing, this is what I'm doing, this is why I am the way I am, this is what I'm doing with it, with myself. And then she's like, okay, I can be friends. And then the second second movie, it's 5 years later, they're dating, right? And it developed over time. Mm-hmm. It wasn't immediately,
I think they are one of the cutest animated couples out there.
I agree.
They just did his parents dirty, and I'll never forgive them for killing Stoic. They shouldn't have. Whatever. We'll talk about that another day. Yeah. I realized, am I kind of ripping off the Sorcerer's Apprentice?
A little bit.
Son of a monkey!
I did notice. I did catch that.
It just barely hit me just now because you said hiccup.
It's like a cross between Sorcerer's Apprentice and Coraline.
Oh my gosh. Oh man. Well, you know what? I think that's fine because how many books do you read and you're like, this is like a mix of this and this. This is a mix of this and this. There are so. Oof, you guys have heard us rant about not original stories. I just think it's funny though because now I'm totally imagining the main character as the actor who plays Hiccup because of Sorcerer's Apprentice. I think he would rock that scene of him just staring up and seeing this beautiful woman and like. So, I think right now I need to ask, no romantic actual interest? Okay, because Tim is just like, no, I wasn't thinking of one.
I think
then you started talking.
Like, maybe he has a lifelong friend.
I really imagine this is like
but I don't know. I think keep romance out of this one.
I think this is just a romance out of it. This is the idea of I want to continue moving even when everything in me is telling me to stop. And now he has this curse that's promising him sleep because she's been put to sleep for all these years. She was put to sleep by someone she thought she trusted. And it's funny though because his intention was, you want peace and quiet, so I will give that to you. Because maybe he saw her freak out, turn into a giant spider, and he goes, this cannot be. And so he did the best thing, sang her lullaby, which she always loved, gave her peace, and let her sleep. And she had this beautiful serenity of sleep, quiet. She wrapped herself in a cocoon in some way. I don't know. But now that she's out, she goes, I was lied to, I was tricked, humans are dumb, and I'm going to make this world as quiet as I want. So,
I think the very last scene could maybe hint at romance. Like finally, he's got a date.
We see
his coworkers are like he's leaving the office and he's like happy. Maybe he's wearing like a manager's shirt finally, and his coworkers are all like, "Good luck on your date tonight."
Something like that. That'd be
something
cute.
Like that. I don't know. Something to show that like it's kind of looking up.
Oh, I just imagine. Oh. Okay, no. Oh, maybe that's too lame. But now I just imagine we hear the heels again at the end of the movie, and we see this lighter skin, like this not so pale, this beautiful skin, and the hand looks familiar. Tap on his shoulder. Riley. He turns around. He's like, oh, and that's the end of the movie. Is that too lame? Yes? You can say yes. You can say yes, Tim.
It's lame, but it's not.
It's lame, but it's not. Man, now I'm sitting here going, what if he fell in love with Maleficent? Like, what if he repaired
that's kind of the whole thing with Maleficent is she fell in love with a human and the human took her wings.
Oh no! Which I need to watch again because I was listening to many women, talk about that scene in particular and what it's an allegory of, and I went, oh, good gravy, I need to watch that again because I watched the scene of her waking up and I said, Angelina Jolie should have gotten an Oscar for that scene alone because I kind of cried a little bit after that when I learned about what it's an allegory of. If you don't know what it's an allegory of, we're not going to say it on here, but
you can look it up.
We can look it up. You can look it up. But yes, very powerful, and I want that kind of betrayal for her to feel that way. He had good intentions, this ancestor, but he's like, I'm going to kill two birds with one stone. I'm not going to kill her because I love her. I'm going to give her the peace she wants.
No. I'm going to put two birds to sleep with one stone.
Stop it. But thank you. That was punny. I'm going to wrap them up in a blanket and kiss them on the forehead and say goodnight. It's like, wait, what? What? So, after he's cursed, how do you want... So, do you think the idea of this curse running rampant and getting bigger being a problem?
Maybe she's cursing everyone but him.
He can't sleep. No, I want him to have that.
Because it's something that he wants so much, and then she realizes that, and she's like, actually,
you
don't get to sleep.
You don't get
You're
to
an
sleep.
insomniac
Oh,
now.
gosh.
You can never sleep. You have to live with your failures forever.
Two insomniacs come up with an allegory of insomnia.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
It's actually why I'm tired today, because I
Insomnia last night?
Could not sleep last night, and then I woke up
I'm
really
probably
early
not going to
today.
sleep tonight because of what's been going on. So if he's an insomniac...
Maybe classic teenager, right? As a teenager, your favorite thing to do is sleep in. That and video games and
I didn't sleep
whatever.
in as a teenager. I didn't like it.
I did. There were...
We are two separate peas right now about that.
There was one day where I slept for almost 24 hours. Straight.
If I slept in past 9, I felt bad. Growing up. Even still now, I still kind of do. If I wake up and it says anything past 9, I'm like, dang. That's like all my day ruined. Even though it's only 9 o'clock.
Now, growing up, I would consistently wake up afternoon. And now I can't, but...
So...
Yeah.
This curse that he has... So everyone else is turning into the... What did you call it? The woven?
The woven.
The woven. I like that a lot. And all they're doing
It's almost
is
like woken.
The woken.
The awoken.
The awoken. I think the idea of the woven is a pretty cool idea. I think that so how does she figure? So now imagine, we go back, shabbing the finger in his chest. What do you want, Riley? And she sees him just working. We're seeing him live his little Sisyphus life, the Squidward meme of him like, desk, car,
The
work,
only
desk,
time
car,
he's
work,
smiling
desk,
is
car,
when
work.
he's getting into bed.
That's so sad.
It's so relatable.
Oh my
too.
gosh, stop! And she sits there, and it would be cute because, like, we see him, and she's just walking, like one of those visions. Like, you see him, he's at work typing, and she's walking by. Interesting. Shows him driving. Really? And you're like, wow. And then it shows him after the failed karaoke attempt. This is sad, Riley. Just sad. Is there any time that you're happy? And we see her, like, spin, like, almost scrolling. Just something. Or weaving. And she's, like, pulling a string.
I like weaving. Almost like she's pulling threads from him.
She's pulling threads to figure out and finding. She's, like, looking through his tapestry almost. To him, it looks like to her, it's like a tapestry. But to him, it's, like, fast-forwarding. And she finally sees him, like, showing him opening his door. You know how we all feel. After a long day, you clamber into your basement, finally, and as he is falling onto the bed, smiling, as you say, smacks the floor, and she's walking around him on this hard dirt floor, because he's in this weird dreamscape right now, and she goes, oh, so, a man who has a sad life, who loves to sleep, who wishes of death. No, you do not get that eternal sleep, Riley. And she like goes even more into his head.
I don't know about the eternal sleep. I think I don't like the S word.
Yes.
So I think if we steer clear of that.
I want it to be.
But I think sleep, to escape reality, a way to escape reality, because that's what sleep is sometimes. It's your escape from reality.
I don't want him to be in a state of where he wants to stop living. We're going to make this. We're going to say all the safety ways of it, so we don't get in trouble in any way. But I don't want him to wish that he wasn't living anymore. Like he's going to force himself to not be living.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll just leave it at that, everybody. But he just has that feeling of, I wish I wasn't here. I hope that's not. I really know that there's a difference between that, because again, he's at this point in his life where he's just bored and sisyphean. He doesn't want to stop living, but it's just nothing's eventful to him.
I wish life was better.
I wish life was better. I wish life had more meaning. I wish I had the will to keep going, but I don't. I just enjoy the end of the day and sleep. The best part of my day is when I sleep. I don't want him to be... But if a giant semi was coming, I don't think he'd jump out of the way. He wouldn't be jumping way too fast. He'd be like, oh no, and just slowly back away.
Maybe.
Sorry, did that get too heavy?
It struck a nerve.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Then you're right. We
We
won't
can edit this bit out. I don't like that word because I used to struggle with it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like really, really bad. And so avoiding it altogether is... Yeah.
I don't want this to be a message about... I mean, I will always implement that message of you are here for a reason. I just want to have the message of life has meaning. You just have to go find it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't stop rolling. Sisyphus, one must imagine Sisyphus happy. That's one of my favorite phrases I've discovered, is one must imagine Sisyphus happy. And I want Riley to discover that near the end. I want him to realize that his life does have meaning, and, sleep is a nice thing to have, but it's not meant as an escape. It's meant as a recharge.
Refresher.
It's a refresher. And so maybe it's not that she sees that he just wants to sleep to get away, and she goes, you will no longer get that escape. You no longer get to escape from what you are, sad and lonely, so you will never get that reprieve. So it's the exact opposite of what his ancestor gave her.
Yes.
He goes, for your curse, for what your ancestor did to me. Ooh. And I know, and it'd be so funny. He goes, I wasn't even alive. Why me? And she just grabs his face. Because you look like him. Oh. And again, because...
Tears forming in all 8 of her eyes.
Oh, the eyes just appear and the mouth comes. And just, because you look like him. That's it. That's your only fault. And he goes, that's stupid. Full on to her face. Because again, he doesn't really...
Life's not fair.
Life's not fair. He is Dipper at his lowest. He is Kaladin.
He's Dipper when Dippy Fresh comes in. And
Yes. He's Kaladin when he lets the wretch come out. I want Riley to be at his wretch moment. He's a wretched boy at this moment. He's just sad. Oh, this is getting way too heavy. But I like it. So my question is, when he sleeps, I still want this curse to affect him when he's trying to sleep and trying to... Maybe he's just sleepwalking, but he's still living his life. I don't know. I want the curse...
I think he cannot sleep.
Darn it.
Like, he's not allowed to sleep. He's unable. Entirely.
So the curse is he can't sleep. So what happens to him in the time where he is, meant to sleep? Because I want him to have a curse, a visible curse.
Maybe he gets tired, he just can't do anything about it.
Maybe. Because I want, naps, exhaustion, and losing focus to start, maybe, webs form across his eyes, and he just sees her everywhere. Maybe he becomes, a web... He becomes a walking, fully working... web weaver. I mean, web weaver.
Woven.
A woven. So is everyone else. So I don't want... So is the woven attacking people, and does it just cocoon them? Does it make more? And when every single person is woven, will they just...
The woven are silent.
So are they? Do you imagine that they're walking around, or do you just wait for? Ooh, so they don't make any noise. They don't scream. They're just these quiet. Ew, a horde of zombies that don't make any noises, and they're soft because they're like covered in webs, and they're just like, ew, ew, ew. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is slowly turning into like a zombie thing.
Got webbed feet.
Stop. Get out. Go to bed. You need a nap. We'll finish.
Yeah, I do.
He needs a long nap. Oh. This boy lives in a world where it is slowly becoming silent, and zombies are coming, but he is the only one awake. Oh, now I imagine the beginning of the movie is him walking, like stumbling through, and we see these creatures run by all quiet, and we see webs at now. Ooh. That's a scene I want.
I'm imagining a lot of scenes from I Am Legend.
Oh, yes. But it's not like that. Because the thing is, I imagine...
doesn't die.
What?
The dog doesn't die.
There isn't even a dog in the actual book. They're making another movie, though, based on the alternate ending. Which I love.
The alternate ending where he survives.
Yep. The book is really good. I recommend it for everyone. You know what? I do want to see a scene, though, of a horde coming. And you see all these people running. And maybe everyone else, though, is having the problem that when they sleep, that they'll become a woven. Maybe that's it, and he's starting to get jealous. He, like, walks into work and sees people slowly... So how does this lone insomniac fight this? How does he cure all this? How would he cure all of this? There's no way he can't do it without help. Oh, maybe I've dug myself too much. I painted myself in a corner with this. Because it just doesn't seem to have...
No, I think it works. We just need to figure it out. I am liking this story.
I think what we've discovered right now is this woven queen has put this curse on the world. She is like, I'm done, you humans don't get it, and they themselves are the ones spreading it out. And I imagine, like, I want there to be the scene where we hear the last like person scream, and almost like echoes across the entire planet, and then we just see webs just coming everywhere, and it's just silence. Or maybe that's what she imagined. She's like, this is what's going to happen. Maybe that's like a what-if scenario. So how is Riley going to beat this? Everyone else is falling asleep. Everyone else gets to fall asleep. Everyone else gets to rest. I feel like if people fall asleep, they get to rest. You either become a cocoon, you become a woven, or you just die. So how would Riley stop this?
I'm imagining everybody becomes a woven. The web's covering their faces, you know. They're all standing there, still, not walking, not moving.
Oh, like they just stopped moving?
And he's the only one left. And she comes up and she's like, I don't know what she would say, maybe something to the effect of like, you could have stopped this if you cared. But you didn't. So you'll join them at last. Kind of thing. And then she like touches him and he begins to transform and he's like, finally. And there's a small part of him that's like, no. No. I can't just, you know, I can't just stand here and do nothing. I gotta act. Maybe there's a few points in the movie where he's like, I should do something, but I'm not gonna.
Maybe he tries burning the webs off someone. Doesn't work. Maybe he is joining a... Maybe his parents are like, we need to look into this. Maybe it's his dad's side, and his father's just like, you need to find what our family was. You need to find out our past, our heritage. Maybe that will be the answer. Maybe at one part, he'll have a dream. I imagine there's a part where finally he's like walking and stumbling and everyone else is quiet. No, the idea is constantly struggling. So maybe she tempts him a few times. There are a few parts of the movie where she comes up. Oh, I want him to have that feeling of sleep paralysis, but he's still awake. Maybe that's what happens sometimes. When he sleeps, he's just in a constant sleep paralysis. Like he's like, oh no, and he's just sitting there and he's stuck, and she just walks over him. Like I imagine at one point she's like walking on him as a spider. Like a spider comes up, he goes, a spider? And she goes, hi! And then transforms into her beautiful self, and she's like, how do you like that? You don't sleep, you get to be awake. Sleep paralysis demon in the corners all dancing. She's like, how do you like that? No! Starts eating his food in his kitchen. No! Starts doing all of his taxes wrong. No! Not my taxes! The IRS is gonna kill me! I can't go back. Okay, I think that would be a good, because I still want him to have that feeling of like, and he's fighting it. Oh, because you know what I'm talking about when you're trying to like wake up and you can like, it's like almost like to me it feels like I'm like pushing out of bed and finally I wake up and it's like a hot sweat. I'm breathing heavy and I'm like, oh, I beat it, and I want him.
It's like the bed. It's like the air around you is Jello.
Oh my gosh!
It's just so thick and heavy and just hard to.
So I want him to have those moments of even when he's like losing focus while he's so tired, he's like, and it is a state of zen and rest, but it's just not good because people are losing it. He's trying to figure out how to beat this curse. I imagine he's like tearing down the family library in the basement that he's been around his whole life. He's like going through old books. He's trying to get to the library, but again, it's still kind of a zombie movie. And I do want him to have a scene where, she knows what he's looking for, and we see him like going down into this, maybe his ancestors, and we can make it cheap and lame that they stayed in this city in America or wherever they're at, and like the great archives are still there, and as he's like trying to get there, we see him sneaking around and we see just a horde coming down. He goes, oh. So how would he beat the horde? Noise. That's something we keep forgetting.
Yeah.
Is noise. I imagine there's a scene where they're coming for him. Oh, maybe they're coming down from his family's basement, and we see him Marty McFly style hook up his guitar. And he goes,
I was thinking the exact same.
And he's like, all right, you think I can't sing? Well, I ain't singing today, but here's this. And just tears off all of the and then we can have him telling people like, don't shoot them. Make noise. The who's and who.
Hands each one like an emergency whistle.
Whistle or just loud thing. They're like throwing things, and people are discovering that it doesn't like noises. So everyone's trying to keep themselves awake. Oh, and I imagine this is going on for everyone's trying to figure out. We probably might have some other characters. And it could be a point, though, that when you finally do sleep, though, it's so... You can wake up a web weaver. Sorry, not a web weaver. Dang it. A woven. You can... Maybe you can wake up a woven. You can tear it up. You can bang on it. But when they're in a cocoon from sleep, that's when it's... No, maybe that's too much. I want there to be a limit to how much you can wake them up. Maybe after a while, they actually just start covering people in webbing so that they can't wake up. I don't know. We say that a lot. I don't know.
You know what I mean?
So, you know what I mean? We've done really good job tonight of not saying that. You know what I mean?
I knew it.
You'll... Okay, Tim. So I'm going to need some help with this. Again, I don't want him being that depressed, but I want him to be that state that some of us are in nowadays, where sometimes life is just so mundane that you're like, man, I can't wait to go back to bed. That sort of thing. I felt that last Friday. I was like, I can't wait for bed. And that's okay. That's natural. This happens. But I want this to be put to the extreme of Riley needs to have the will to be something more. So my question is, what would he use to defeat her? Is he? I don't want it to be lame that he's going to sing a song. Is he just going to try to kill her?
I do think the singing would work. I think she, he tries instruments. He tries the emergency whistle. He tries a car horn, and she just kind of shakes it off, or maybe she ruins all of those things and shoots her webs at the whistle to make it so it can't sound, smashes the car horn, the car with her legs to destroy it.
And I imagine when she's in spider form,
I'm imagining she's big, like Shelob.
I'm imagining, you know that warehouse we were talking about for Dr. Kane? Imagine she fills that thing up.
That big.
Mm-hmm. I imagine there's a part where he gets down to the cave and he goes, and he sees a spider, like pretty big, like like this one might be one of Aragorn's kids, and he goes, "Wow, you're Aragog." Sorry, comes in for Frodo. Yes, Aragog, for Frodo. You have my soul. You have my fangs. But I imagine he goes, "Oh, you're a lot. You're not as pretty as a spider as I thought." And we see the spider scurry off, and then it shows one of the eyes, and he goes, "Huh." Oh, and it's just huge, and he's like, "Oh." And it cuts away before he finishes the word. Honk! It shows all these people. I imagine he probably gets a group of people to come, and I imagine he's going to lead a group. And I want there to be a tragic moment when they come in, they like break into this place where she's at. Semis, cymbals, loud noises, they are messing up. We see them killing her kid. I don't want her to have kids. I just want her to be, she could be
stunning the other woven.
They're holding them down, they're waking them up, they're stunning them. I do imagine there might be some smaller spiders, or maybe they're literally just squishing all these spiders that have been following her. She's a big spider. They just are like, "Oh, follow the spiders, Harry." Mm-hmm. That sort of thing. And I just imagine she's just having a moment where, and again, she's silent. I don't want her to be loud. But there's this part where she sees them all coming, and she can see the fear in his ancestors' eyes and fear in the human's eyes the few times that she's shown herself, and she screams. And it's loud. Webs go flying, and she just encases everything and everyone. And once again, we just see Alex. And I imagine if this is Riley, dang it.
Alex was last week. I do love Alex.
I've really been thinking, I hope to meet you one day, Alex, because your character that we made for you was a lot of fun. So I imagine he's leading the charge. She screams, all the webs go flying, and then it's absolute quiet. This microphone is her head, and just Alex, and he's just staring, and he's all by himself kneeling. That's what I imagine. I don't know if you can see that, but I do. Almost like her eyes are glowing, and they're just staring. Iron Giant style. You're right, I do mention that movie a lot. It's not my super absolute favorite. It's just one of them. I mention Hercules a lot.
Not as often as Iron Giant.
You don't hang out with me when I'm with other people.
That's fair.
I don't hang out with just you, Tim. I hang out with only Tim. I'm just kidding. I have friends. Actually, everyone, I kidnap Tim every week. He's forced against his will.
I'm actually tied to the chair.
I pay him with food. I force the soup down his throat. Point being, I imagine I don't want it to be that cheesy. Maybe we'll make up a new ending for it, but I do. He starts singing.
Here's a scene that I could see.
Okay.
He's the only one left. She's staring at him, and then through one of the walls breaks in another semi-truck with a couple people. He's able to get away while she turns her focus to them, and he looks around and he notices
It's his parents.
It's his parents, yeah.
Aww.
He notices there's a car off to the side that's just sitting there on its own, and he's like, and so he runs to it, and he has to get past a couple of the woven, because I imagine every time she touches someone, they become a woven just instantly. And I think maybe when her attention is on his parents, he runs to the car, past some of the woven. They're grabbing at his legs, and he's fighting for his life, trying to get into the car.
I imagine the woven almost ignore him because again, he's meant to be awake, especially if she's not focused on him,
trying to keep him away from the car.
Yeah,
I want them like grabbing at him, pulling him out. Maybe it's her. Maybe she's thrown a web at his legs, and he's doing everything he can, and there's a part of him that doesn't want, or that just is ready to give up, just be done with it. But then there's the other part of him that
I'm so tired.
I've got to do this. And he punches the car horn, and it sets off like this chain reaction where it sets off the car horn, and it stuns all of the woven, but some of the woven are at the front of, or at the steering wheel of some of the other trucks that are all, imagining like they're webbed to the walls of the cave, and so it startles them, and they hit the horn on accident, and it just get louder and louder and louder, and she starts.
We see people
screaming.
who are woven come out of it, and they're screaming, and they're blaring their horns, or they're making noises. Everyone's, because again, I imagine the woven are quiet. So it's just a chain reaction of they never scream.
I've been imagining this whole time like almost like COVID masks, just webs on their faces, so only their eyes are seen.
Again, I imagine it's Ghost Rider flames, but skull web. Mm-hmm. That's all I imagine it. But I imagine when the horns blast off, we see it peel apart, and then they start screaming, and that like helps them get awake.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think that chain reaction idea is really cool. I like that. I like that just everyone starts screaming, and it's in a cave, so it starts echoing.
Exactly. And the parents are laying on the horn, and she's got her human hands covering her ears, and she's shrinking down, or maybe she's
doing that spider thing where it backs into
the
a corner.
spider thing backs into the corner, and she maybe like as it's going, she kind of hits her head on the ceiling, and it stuns her, and maybe a rock falls, or maybe just a big rock falls onto her back and crushes her. And I'm imagining Riley gets out of the car, walks over to her.
This scene has to be chaotic. Tim, they have to keep yelling. I imagine everyone's coming and just yelling. They're like, and I imagine they are like, they're turning into an opposite of the woven, and they are grabbing people, yelling into their faces, and it's awkward. People's voices are going hoarse. Imagine you're trying to you're screaming for your life. You're trying to stay. Again, I think I told Tim, I want to go back right where you're at, because I told Tim that one time I had a nap and I was coming out of sleep paralysis, and I came out yelling. I'm not going back.
I'm not going back either.
Okay. But I was laying on my couch over here, and it was right before D&D, and I woke up, and I was fighting it, and I came out of my sleep paralysis screaming. And I want that feeling, and I am perfectly okay if it was never Alex, if it's
Riley.
all... Dang it! Sorry. Alex and Riley would be good friends. But Riley would be encouraging everyone to yell, and that feeling of yelling and trying to stay awake and fight off your, you got that awful feeling of like you need to eat some chocolate, drink some water.
Maybe at the beginning of the fight she's like, you can sleep now, and just all of the exhaustion from the past like week and a half or however long it's been.
Oh, it's terrible.
Hits him and it's like, oh, like he almost passes out. I'm not going back to jail.
I mean, I'm not going back either. It's fine.
But like all of the exhaustion hits at once, and so now instead of
I just got tired.
Instead of
this is the wrong
fighting
movie to do when we're tired. Yeah, it's
okay.
okay.
Instead of fighting like just his apathy and his laziness and not wanting to do anything, now he's fighting being tired. Because he could just try to escape reality into this sleep. But he's got a job to do now.
So maybe Alex is the one that sets off the... He sets
Riley.
off the... Dang it!
So maybe instead of the woven grabbing at him, maybe he's just so exhausted, and so he's crawling his way. And, like, he's rubbing his eyes, and he's yawning, and he's... Jeez.
That was some good acting, Tim. Good job.
He's yawning, and he's rubbing his eyes, and he's just crawling towards the car, and he's just slowly pulling himself in. And finally, with one last, like, you can see how just weak he is from... the non-stop go.
And while he's crawling, I imagine she turns back into the beautiful woman she's following. Now, you want to be awake? Because maybe he's like, please, I just want to sleep. Maybe Riley hasn't been... Maybe he's been, like, leading people, and maybe they're like, oh, we'll find her, we can find her. But he's kind of led it. Maybe he was tricking all these humans to get there just so he could sleep. He's like, I'll let everyone else take care of this. I will beg. I will do whatever she wants. And when he led all those people there, they started like fighting, and he was kind of like half-heartedly fighting. And then that's when she kind of screams, covers everyone up, and he's sitting there. Now the scene of him getting stared down by the giant eyes. She goes, you lied to all of them, didn't you? Oh, you brought all those people just so you can nap? So you can sleep? And she like kind of shoves him. You're nothing. Oh, you're nothing like him. Nothing. And he's like, I know. I don't know why you keep comparing me to him. I'm not him. And she goes, okay then. You can sleep. Oh. And that's when he would... That guilt, that light.
Maybe he's finally like, oh, finally.
And you can see
and
the web.
He closes his eyes, and you can see... And then, he's like almost in like a vision. And he's kneeling in front of his ancestor.
Yes,
like
thank you. I was wanting this scene. I was like, his ancestor has to talk to him.
And
he's play. I imagine he's like maybe he's a bard.
Yeah,
he's just playing that little lute. I don't know, what are those things called?
A lute.
He's just playing a lute. He's just staring at him in some just bard clothing. He goes, "Well, what would he say to him?"
You turned out great.
Oh, dang! I'm loving this.
They'd have a conversation, and finally the ancestor... I don't care what happens in the conversation, but I think the ancestor has to say, I'm not around to save you anymore. I'm not around to save you.
I can't stop her.
I can't stop her. I tried once, and it lasted a while, but you've got to do it this time. I'm not around anymore. And Riley's like, you're right. Fine.
Well, I can imagine they could have a conversation of like, you really turned out annoying. Look at the modern day you live in. Look at all that you have. You know what I had in my day? I was the entertainment. I had to walk around.
I was the cell phone.
I was the cell phone. He's talking. He's like, I had to walk, and he's like, you have these little tiny things that give you all this information, music whenever you want. I was the music. I went to town to sing and perform. And he's like, you don't think I thought it was boring? And it shows a flashback of him like having that fake smile while he's saying, oh. Sorry.
Yes.
I'm really liking this. But point being,
that's when Riley can wake up and start trying.
There's a scene in this movie called The Producers. And this kind of, I didn't realize that this kind of has been sticking in. It's one of my favorite scenes. But The Producers is about two Broadway it's about a accountant and a Broadway producer, and they work together because they realize that if they make a terrible Broadway play, and they produce it for over $200 million, if they produce it for $200 million and it's a flop, then the IRS won't come looking for that money because it was a flop. But there's a point, and this sounds really cheesy, but there's a point where Mr. Bloom, the accountant, is sitting there, and it's just like and he's just talking about how he's unhappy. He's singing how he wants to be a producer because it's everything that he's not. And he's sitting there, and he starts accounting again, and he goes, wait a minute, there is more to life than me. There is more to me than just me. And he says this line. It's one of my favorite lines, and I tear up every time I watch that musical. He says, stop the world. I want to get on, and I want Alex to have... Dang it! I want Riley to have that moment. I want him to go, stop. I want to get on. I want to keep pushing the boulder up the hill. I don't want it to crush me. I want to keep pushing because there is a lot more to me than just me. And I want that the point of this story to be that is, don't go quietly into that dark night. Fight. I know it's not easy in this mundane life, but just go through it. So I want that to be from this ancestor scene. I was thinking about the ancestor, and it would just be basically this actor playing these two parts. But yes, I would want him to wake up and fight for it, and he would cause the chain reaction. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
I see him like he wakes up and he's tearing out the webs from his eyes like you do your eye boogies when you wake up from a nap. He's screaming, he's fighting, he's clawing at the webs, he's crawling, and she's following him like, now you want to be awake. Now is your time to fight, Riley. Really. Just go to sleep. And she's like kicking him. Sleep. And she's getting more frustrated. Sleep. And he's like getting closer to the car. And she goes, you're not going to make it. And she's just... I don't know. Would she just try to like pull him and grab him? Or would...
I think she doesn't even realize where he's trying to go. Until it's too late.
Like, maybe it's not a car horn. It's
a whistle. Emergency whistle.
Oh, he like reaches for it. Oh. I imagine, I know this might be dumb, but like a tuning fork or a triangle.
A kazoo.
No, I don't think that's like that. No. It reverberates enough.
No,
but I think the whistle.
I think an emergency whistle. Like I've been imagining. I like camping. I like hiking. I'm an Eagle Scout. I worked at a scout camp for a summer, so I'm very familiar with emergency whistles. And I've got one that's glow in the dark in my emergency kit, or in my call it my 10. I call it the 10 essentials. Something we did when I was in Scouts, and anyway, I'm imagining it's something like that where it's just really small. I don't want it to be red. Well, maybe it could be red because that's pretty classic.
A steel one.
A steel, like a coach's whistle,
lifeguard whistle. Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved my steel whistle. That's what I had because I'd always eat my plastic whistles. when I lifeguarded people, so I bought a metal one.
Nice.
And I imagine that scene would be epic. He's like crawling towards something, and he reaches out, and she's just staring at him. And when she rolls him over, he's got the whistle in his mouth. And he just blows it in her face, and it's just piercing, and she kind of is shocked, and she backs up, and then we see all these woven around her. I don't want it to be like too... Is that too cheesy?
I mean, we can do cheesy.
It's okay. I think cheesy would be perfect. I just imagine like he whistles once, and it's really loud, and she kind of flinches back, and she kind of starts laughing. But then you hear another whistle, and you see one of the woven by him is blowing their whistle, and then we see it starts. I want that chain reaction. I think that chain reaction would work. Like one little spark would do that. So now that they've driven her into a corner, and I just imagine your poor sister. Like, I don't know what it's like when she has sensory overload, but now I'm just imagining this beautiful woman is on the ground, and they're surrounding her, honking horns, lights are on her, and she's just screaming. She looks like the woman, and she's just crying and covering her ears. And I don't know where to go from that.
I'm not entirely sure. I just know that as she dies, I want her to die. And as she's dying, I want Riley to look at her and be like, you know, there is some beauty to noise. And then he sings the same song that his ancestors sang her to sleep. Maybe he doesn't even say that.
He just comes up to her because maybe she's thrashing, and that's what gets her. The thrash does her in. She's screaming, thrashes. She gets more silent. She gets smaller, and we can see like something fall and get her.
Just we can see because of the noise and the vibration, part of the cave starts to collapse a little bit. Some rocks are falling, and one of them hits her in the head.
I just imagine it crumbles, and then like she's holding it, and it crushes her, and she gets smaller and smaller, and it might be cheesy, but when she gets smaller, it'll just be a hand. Kind of like the Hydra in Hercules. I said it. And, you know, it shrinks it'll just be one hand, and it'll shrink, and she'll be at the front of the pile. And we see it shifting as she's shrinking back. Man, they really are after us tonight.
I'm not going back.
I'm not going back. And I imagine they show some kindness, and they open up everyone. He's telling everyone quiet, and it's just gone quiet after all that noise. It falls down. It's just deadly quiet. We see Alex run. Not Alex. Why?
Riley.
Why Riley? We see Riley run, and he's sitting there, and it's a Sandlot moment of him pulling the rubble, like trying to pull the rubble, and people help him, and people are starting to like actually be awake now. Something's different. And, you know, he's sitting there holding her, and I just imagine I want him to start singing the tune, but while she's dying, it's not Riley, it's his ancestor singing.
Mm-hmm. Almost in that same dreamscape.
Yeah.
In that same dreamscape, and she's standing there before him, and he you know, playing his lute, and he's singing, and they walk off into the classic. They walk off into the sunset together,
into the white light,
into
sort
the
of
white
thing.
light, and she breathes her last breath in Riley's arms.
And I just want her to just dissipate into just webs,
spiders,
not spiders, just
webs,
and just flutters off. And that might be cheesy and cliche, and we just see him like. And it kind of flashes to his parents tackling him, loving him, because I want his parents to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And I just imagine the ending is, you know, everyone's trying to get things back to normal. We see people peeling off all the webs, and I just imagine we see him go to bed finally, like we see him smile, Actually, he doesn't smile this time when he goes to bed.
Okay.
He just kind of stares at it and just lays down. And then when he wakes up the next day, then he smiles. He goes to sleep kind of tired looking, but when he wakes up and he opens his eyes, he smiles.
Like, and then at the office, people are cleaning up webs from off of everything, and they're working, got extra janitor crew or whatever. And
yeah, no one's like really. Everyone's kind of just glossing over. It's like that was really weird. This is probably only like a couple days, like a week maybe. Maybe it could be longer.
I like the idea that he comes out of the office, his boss's office, and his boss
his friends from the beginning of the movie look at him like a thumbs up, like they're like waiting, and he's like shakes his head no, and then they're like, "Oh, I'm just kidding, I got the job." Oh yeah, they got the promotion.
I got a raise.
He got the promotion he wanted. He everything's starting to go well. He's seen the positivity, and maybe he doesn't get it. But he's still just and they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And he's like, "You know what? That's okay. That's okay, because you know what?" And he shows them a job resume. I got 5 calls today from different places. And it shows him, he's making changes when his life feels this way. He's making his own changes. And then it shows him hanging out with his friends later that night. And we just see him... I do want to hear the heels. I'm not implying that it's her, but I want him to hear the heels and just look over and just smile. I'm not implying it's her. I just imagine that he has confidence now to be like, I'm going to do it. That sort of thing.
I like it.
But the idea of it would just... Ooh. All right. Well, it's 10 o'clock.
Yeah, it is.
That was a good hour, 40 minutes. This one's gonna be fun editing. But thanks, Tim.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if that was... That's my phone telling me it's 10 o'clock.
Mine gave me the 10-minute warning 10 minutes ago.
I think that this came up with everything that I wanted. I think there was a moment where I wanted to feel that dread and helplessness near the end. And that fear of sleep will take them. I think the idea of our villainess wanting to cover the world in webs was a good one. And I feel like it was actually working. I think it was better of having her want to have absolute silence than no mistakes. She just wants everyone to just be quiet because she just doesn't care. And I wish we would have implied a second voice, maybe a few instances of him seeing her when he was delirious. Because, when you lack sleep, you start seeing things, and she's just totally walking in between realms of unconsciousness. Because you want to pass out, but you start hallucinating. I totally want her to mess with him throughout the movie. Maybe we can apply that later on. Maybe we'll actually write the layout for this story, and one day we'll give it to you guys.
Yeah.
But for now, I think I'm happy with it. I don't know what the title would be. I think just... Woven. I really like that choice of it. I'm going to just make that it. I don't know, though, because we have Dreamweaver. That's fine. I don't care. She literally was more of a Dreamweaver, though. I think Alex would have a fun time dealing with her.
Yeah.
That would be weird. I'm gonna put you to sleep. Okay. You're gonna really enjoy what I cook up in the real world. Makes a giant squirrel. Oh no. But thank you, everyone, and thank you for listening. I think tonight was fun. I know we both were kind of out of it, but we do this because sometimes it's nice to try to stretch our brains, and I'm glad Tim, near the end, that focus came in clutch. So I really love the ending scene you kind of gave us. So Well, yeah, Tim, I'll just give it to you. Close us out.
All right. Again, thank you guys for listening. Again, as always, if you have any ideas, feel free to let us know on social media or through email or whatever. Or in person if you know us in person. But yeah, please be kind, love each other. Don't let your dreams just be dreams. Should have said that last time, but keep moving forward. Remember, there's more to life than whatever's going on right now. Always worth living. Always worth putting in your best foot forward. And until next time, we'll see you later, pitches.
Bye.